My son Davion is and always will be so much more than cargo. He was precious. He was an amazing soul with a heart of gold.
We may have covered the criminal case of Mackenzie Shirilla, the 19-year-old who intentionally crashed a car, killing her boyfriend and friend, but the story is far from over. We sit down with the parents of one of the victims who are keeping their son's memory alive and trying to help so many others. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We cover cases from beginning to end. Crime, an arrest, a trial, a sentence. When the jury goes home and the defendant is sent to prison, there's still a family that's left behind dealing with a huge loss. But as we've seen so many times, there are some loved ones that transform that loss, they transform that pain into something else, something that can help others. And what we want to focus on specifically right now is the Ohio case of Mackenzie Shirilla. So back on July 31st, 2022, then 17-year-old Mackenzie Shirilla crashed her car into a wall on purpose. She and the two passengers had to be extricated from the car. Now, she survived, but her boyfriend, 20-year-old Dominic Russo, and their friend, 19-year-old Davion Flanagan, did not. Shirilla and Russo apparently had a toxic relationship, and she had apparently threatened him before, even saying that she would crash her car on purpose. According to police, Shirilla was driving 100 miles an hour down a dead-end street when she hit the brick wall. She had a bench trial in August 2023, meaning a judge would decide this case, not a jury. And the judge ultimately found her guilty on murder, assault, vehicular homicide, and possession charges. Shirilla spoke in court before the judge officially handed down her sentence.
Families of God and Davion, I'm so deeply sorry. I hope one day you can see I would never let this happen or do it on purpose. I wish I could remember what happened. I'm just so sorry. I'm heartbroken. I love Davon and Davion. We were all friends, and Davon was my soulmate. I wish I could take all your pain away, and I'm so sorry. And to my family, thank you for the support and all the love you guys give. Thank you for fighting with me. I love you all so much.
A failed suicide attempt is not a defense to murder. And even in a murder-suicide attempt, when the perpetrator executing the plan survives, the other death or deaths are still murder. There's only one person who's responsible for the pain of everyone in this room, and that person is you, Mackenzie. I do believe that Mackenzie will not be out in 15 years. So she's sentenced on count 2, the murder of Davion Flanagan, 15 years to life. She's sentenced on count 1, the murder of Dominic Russo, 15 years to life, to be served concurrent to each other with credit for time served.
Now, the judge acknowledged that while there are those who would want the sentences to run consecutively, meaning one after the other for a total of 30 years, the judge didn't think that that was appropriate in this case. Well, let's actually talk about Davion Flanagan. So Davion Flanagan was a former running back for a high school football team in Strongsville, Ohio, great athlete. And it had been his dream, actually, though, to go to a school to become a barber, eventually open up his own barber shop. That's what he wanted to do. He was actually in the process of applying to barber schools when he was tragically killed. Well, his family has started a scholarship fund through GoFundMe to help others go to barber school. And so far, that fund has raised thousands of dollars. Well, right now, we are joined by two very special guests. Davion's parents, Jaime and Scott Flanagan, are joining me right now to talk about the case, talk about their son, and how they're keeping Davion's memory alive. Scott, Jaime, first of all, we haven't met before. I just want to say, first of all, it's an honor to have you both here. I'm very excited to talk about the scholarship. I just want to say I am so sorry for everything that you and your family have gone through. It's an incredible loss. And before we even get started, I just wanted you to know that. And we really do appreciate you taking the time to come on here.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, we miss him very much.
We do.
I completely understand. And before we even get into the scholarship, I just wanted to ask, how are you two doing? Because it's been quite the roller coaster of a year.
It really has. I would say that we're in a pretty good place right now. It was very tumultuous around the time of the trial and the hearings before the trial. It was a very difficult time for our family, as you could imagine. But since the verdict, in the sentencing, we've had a chance to kind of rally around as a family and kind of lean into each other. And things are going fairly well as they could be under these circumstances.
Yeah, I think that, like as a family, I think each of us were handling it as healthily as we can, and we all know how. With the holidays coming up, it's hard. But I think we're at a point where we can really start to put some of this behind us. Not Davion, he keep him alive in our memories and keep his heart alive through our memorial foundation and everything. But we can start unpacking this and healing as much as we can. And so, I think we are happy that the trial's behind us and we can kind of, just rest knowing that she is somewhere being taken care of, and not a threat to others right now.
And if we can just talk about that for a second, because we covered this
Sure.
trial here on Law and Crime,
Mhm.
and the judge made a statement right before the sentencing, where the judge acknowledged that she had the option to sentence Shirilla to a maximum of what would have been 30 years, 15 years to run one after the other, but looked at the facts of the case and the circumstances and chose to run the sentences concurrently, one at the same time. And so 15 years was the sentence. When you look back on that, how do you feel about that decision?
I'll be honest. It stung a bit at first. It took us some time to kind of step back and really process that. There's two individuals in that vehicle that passed. And while I highly respect the judge, and her decision, we do feel like 30 probably would have been more appropriate, but we also are accepting that this is, I also understand why the judge chose to do it that way too. Like she said, the pain in this room is gonna, ask for the maximum. And honestly, I don't believe that she will
Get out in 15.
out in 15. They often do not grant parole the first time. It's just unfortunate. I think that we're going to have to sit down and keep talking about this, like in 13, 14 years, whatever. We'll be at that parole board hearing. 30 years from now, I would have been in my 70s. I still would have been there. But my girls, 30 years from now, they would be my age now, they'd be in their 40s. And that it's unfortunate that they're going to have to continue to go through this. But we'll be there.
Yeah. We definitely respect the judge's decision. She's done this for a living. She has a lot of experience with this. But as my wife said, Jamie said, it was a little bit, it took your breath away a little bit to hear that it was not going to be 30. Because, which 15 is she serving? Is she serving 15 for Dominic or is she serving 15 for Davion?
You start doing math.
You start doing
trying to figure it out, and that's not.
It doesn't work out that way.
Honestly, just kind of had to surrender that piece.
And
not that we want vengeance, but how much is a life worth? And it's so invaluable. There's no price you can put on it. So.
Yeah, that's like you said, that's a math problem equation where I don't think there's any answer and it doesn't make sense at times. I do want to ask you, I've read about your feelings towards it, and you've said that in a way it feels like Shirilla might be in denial of what happened and what her role was. Do you think she realizes it, or do you think it's going to take time for her to really appreciate what she did?
Yeah, there's no guarantee that she'll ever understand fully and comprehend what she did and what she took from us and from the Russos.
Well, or admit it.
Or even admit it.
Right. Whatever. That's hard. It's hard. We're not in her head. I don't know. It's hard to believe that she doesn't remember anything.
Yeah, that's kind of tough to swallow a little bit. It
does happen. And that honestly, I think we're putting it between her and, her higher power, or we may never know, and we have to kind of wrap our brains around that.
Yeah, that's a tough part, is not knowing. Like, if she could just admit what she did and why she did it, it could definitely help in the healing process for us as a family, for Davion's younger sisters, for us as parents. But not knowing is kind of a misery of its own.
Right. Like, what were those final moments like in that car?
Right. And so all we're
Probably
left
would've been
with,
terrifying.
yeah, all we're left with is our imagination. And she could really dispel a lot of that and ease a lot of our concerns and allow us to heal properly if she could just come forward and say, listen, I did what I did, and this is why I did it. It would make it easier for our family, for sure.
Yeah, and we're not expecting that.
No.
To be honest, I mean, I know the appeal was filed the next day.
Right.
The family and herself are maintaining her innocence. But the facts of the case are what they, the facts are the facts.
Yeah.
The science is
Can't deny the science.
correct.
Yeah. And look, I don't know. I don't know what she'll say. I don't know what she'll do. We'll follow it.
Right.
But let's actually switch gears. Let's talk about Davion. That's what I really wanted to talk to you about. So it was very interesting. And a lot of people might not know this. So Davion was this like star athlete, but he had this passion to be a barber, of all things. And and I got to tell you, where did that come from, that he wanted to be a barber? And we'll get into how that ties into the scholarship. But, that's so interesting that that's what he wanted his life to be.
So he had a couple passions. One was football, and the other is barbering.
Yeah.
He was a really creative kid, just talented athlete, like you said. I think he started because, I mean, he had a cool sense of style. I gotta be honest, he always did. And he started doing his own hair, at a young age, and just messing around. And we went through a phase where he had his hair short for a while, so he was Shavion. We used to call him Shavion and rub his head. But then, he tried out different styles, and next thing you know, he wants a pair of clippers, and he's
the team barber for the entire varsity football team and the coaches.
And the coach.
Oh, wow.
In fact, we had ran into Coach not that long after, he had passed, and he said, he still owed me a haircut. And I was like, don't worry, he's got it for you up there. He'll give you the best one.
Which one did he get? Did he give you guys haircuts? Did either of you? No. Okay.
The dog, he would give haircuts to as well. In his entire varsity football team, he was the team barber. So he would have them over all during the week to give them haircuts. And it really kind of flourished when he was injured as well. He had a couple of very major injuries to his knee and to his leg.
In his senior year, he was the starting running back, and just, blew out a knee, unfortunately, in the middle of a game with a tackle that just, I mean, it was a bunch of different ligaments and the meniscus. So unfortunately, that was probably going to be the end of that.
His football dream.
So he transitioned
to the barber dream and really started to fulfill it. He applied for a barber school, the All-State Barber School here in Cleveland, right before he passed. And so that's where the idea of the scholarship came in, from his passion for barbering.
Let's talk about that. So you've started a scholarship in his name. It's through GoFundMe. Walk us through what it is, what the goal is, how you're trying to get donations, and what you're trying to reach.
So it's called the Davion Flanagan Memorial Fund, or Barbers. It's a barber school scholarship, excuse me. And the whole thing started as a GoFundMe that a close friend of our son, started right after his passing. And we kind of, as we were going through the trial, and I don't know, it just came on our hearts that we really, we want to carry on this like beautiful heart that our son had. He was such a good friend. He was such a caring individual. Like he, being starting running back, being the, big guy on campus, kind of, at the high school, the senior, I mean, we heard so many amazing stories just about how he was friends to everyone, and he made sure that even those that were not seen um, felt valuable and seen. And we just had so many great stories, and we really wanted to just continue on with that heart and continue giving. So we decided to transition that original fund into the Memorial Scholarship. I reached out to the college that Davion was in the process of applying to let them know, hey, you know what? There's been a lot of media attention around this case. You know, honestly, to be honest, in the beginning, I was a little hesitant to talk to media, but then was like, you know, I will, but I want to turn some good out of this
Right.
too, you know, and
Not just focus on
yes, and promote this so that we can help others. So I reached out to the university, got to meet the owners. It's in their fourth generation that is running the All-State Barber College. It's downtown Cleveland, right next to the West Side Market, which is this cool
little neighborhood.
yeah, cool little neighborhood. Got to go there and meet them. They are actually very much interested in, we're working together. They helped us put together the scholarship application. And they're helping us with the selection process of the students as well, because we did want it to be need-based. I'm sure you saw in you know, just in looking at the case and, you know, what's out there, Davion was adopted from foster care. We adopted him and his sister's siblings from foster care all at once. And Davion would just love this, you know, giving back to the community, giving back to local, giving back to those that maybe don't have someone helping them out.
Right. He always called us his second chance. And so to give a second chance to others who might not be able to afford the college and want that dream to be fulfilled, it just feels like it comes full circle and brings
Yeah.
his heart and his desires and his kindness back around to others who can benefit as well.
Yeah. So it is need based,
Mhm.
and they are going to, we're hoping to start giving out scholarships actually soon. They are going to help us select. We're going to get to meet them. We plan on taking the girls with us as
Mhm.
well. I think it's great for them to see this, and just the idea of helping to create a bunch of little barbers in his memory to carry on his dream.
Yeah.
It gives us hope, and I feel like it gives others hope too. You wouldn't know, like, it's kind of shocking to know that it's $16,000 to go to barber school.
Yeah, I
And
was
there
I
aren't
was
a lot.
shocked by that. That's a lot.
Right.
But you guys have raised over 30,000 the last time I checked, right?
Yes.
We
Yes.
have.
And also with talking with the university, you know, there's some ways that we can step in also. You know, some students are going to be eligible for Pell Grants, you know, and if the government's going to give them that, great, you know,
But there's a gap
there's gaps
between
that we
the
can
Pell
help.
Grant amount and the amount of tuition. So we can help fill that gap and bridge that gap for the students
Yes.
and allow them to pursue their dream where normally they would be like, oh, we didn't get
Yes.
enough money, we can't go to college. We
Correct.
can give them that bridge to allow them to pursue their dream.
And by collaborating with the university or the college, they have access to that information. You know, we don't need to see
Right.
that. And they also know, you know, who is genuine and really wants to,
Who's
you know,
passionate. Yeah.
passionate about being a barber. And, you know, we want to make sure that the funds go towards someone that they think will, you know, go forward with it. And so, yeah, we're
excited.
It can continue to grow as we grow with it, you know, depending on, you know, how the crowdfunding goes. You know, even down the road, if we look at, I would love to follow these kids. I mean, they don't have to be friends with me, but at the same time,
I don't know why they wouldn't.
just
I don't know why they
follow
wouldn't
them.
want to be. You guys are great.
Yeah.
I mean, really. Let me just say. I mean,
Yeah.
first of all, again, we've never met before. I can
Yeah.
feel, you know, Davion. I could feel the love that he got from you guys. I mean, you two are two amazing people, and doing incredible work right now. But I could tell how much he was loved in that household. So I would think everybody would want to be friends with you guys. How are you getting the donations though? So like I said, you've already raised a lot of money. I know that there's a goal that you want to reach. Obviously, we will do whatever we can to amplify this message. Hopefully, our viewers and our listeners can check it out. But where are you getting the donations? Where are you seeing that support right now?
In the beginning, it was local community, probably in Strongsville, but since
as a case went viral,
yes, they really did
there's
go
donations from all over the world now for that GoFundMe. So it's really doing programs like this, putting ourselves out there, telling our son's story, letting people find out who Davion was and what he was all about. And through that, people are donating and continuing to donate as we go forward.
Yeah, so mostly through the GoFundMe going forward, we may look at doing some additional fundraisers and things locally. With even I spoke to someone at a local barber shop, about them possibly doing a day where, hey, if we'll have a day that you come in and you can donate to this, with your cut, and just things like that. I feel that things are finally starting to kind of calm down for us from like a court perspective and all of that. And so I feel like we're just getting started.
Right.
We did set the goal high. I think our goal, was at 200 or 250,
yeah, something like that.
300,000. Basically just if it could feed itself, that would be fantastic. Like how many people that we could help. I know talking with the university, even there are kids that don't get scholarship, or Pell Grants, and on paper they look like they don't need them. But specifically, they were telling me about, one individual who, maybe is estranged from the family, that family members maybe
aren't supportive.
They're not supportive,
right.
Or there's, addiction issue. And, this poor kid's like living in his car, working 3 jobs, trying to get through school and has to pay full tuition, so things like that we can step in and help. It's
Right.
really hard when you don't have a family or have that support, to get you started. So we're really hoping. I've even had people from local banks say, hey, what do you think about maybe down the road, small business loans to help, who knows how far. It just depends on how much we can do,
how much we can raise.
But our heart is really to help others and to help them grow and support their families. And I can kind of we can look on and say, hey, that's Davion helped do that.
Something good came from this terrible, terrible tragedy.
Yeah, you both are doing amazing work, and I know Davion would be so proud of this, of what you're doing in his name and helping those. And I wish you nothing but the absolute success on this. One thing I'll tell you, I think from the majority of barbers, and listen, clearly I know they are passionate about their work, so I don't think you're going to have trouble finding the people that want to do it. I wanted to ask you before I let you go, and you've been so generous with your time. You are transforming a tragedy into something so beneficial to others. You're doing the best. I can see the best that you are in given the circumstances. How is the Russo family doing? Have you spoken to them? And has the Shirilla family reached out to you at all as well?
There's been no reach out from the Shirilla family since very early days, right after the crash. There was some limited correspondence, but that was it. The Russos are probably very much like ourselves, struggling. I mean, it's an unimaginable loss to lose, a son as a parent or a brother as a sibling. I think they're very much in the same boat that we are. We don't have close contact with them. I mean, some Facebook, some social media contact with them.
See them at the graves.
Because they're very close to each other.
Close to each other where they're laid to rest.
Right.
They weren't families that we knew prior to this event, really.
Right.
I mean, Davion was kind of more, these were like newer friends or kind of acquaintances, which stings even more, just wrong place, wrong time, really. But I think I think they're trying to heal in their own way too and move forward. And we do have, we did create some bonds through going
we sure did
together for sure.
Yeah. Well, listen, Jaime Scott, Davion sounded like an incredible young man. He was taken too early. But as I said, you really, I can tell the love that you gave him, and they really made the years of his life so special. I just feel it. So I wish you the best of luck on this. We'll promote this as much as we can, and I wish you and the family the best of luck moving forward. Thank you so much for coming here on Sidebar.
Thank you for having us, Jesse.
Thank you.
Excellent. Honestly, just two lovely people that are doing incredible work. I can't say it enough. Now, if you actually want to know more about this case and you want to learn more about what went down, Killer Cases, one of our productions, is actually covering the Mackenzie Shirilla case this Friday, December 15th. So if you want to learn more about what happened, I encourage everyone to check it out. That is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. Speak to you next time.